Hello, this is Steve with Apogee Hardwood Cleaning. We are working on another video for the blog series. The blog we're going over today is understanding the basics, what is screen and recoat, and how does it benefit your hardwood floors. Alright, so we're going over the screen and recoats. Screen and recoat is a maintenance procedure to keep your floors looking good. The other maintenance procedure for hardwood floors that most people are familiar with is the full refinishing that includes sanding. So when you sand the floor, you take off the top layer of the floor. You can do a lot of things with the floor. It will go back to looking new. The purpose of the screen and recoat is that you don't sand it. We go in and we do some preparation of the surface of the floor, which is called screening, and we apply a new coat of polyurethane. The purpose of the screen and recoat is the fact that polyurethane wears down over time. So the polyurethane, which is your protective layer on your floor, that's what protects the wood on the floor from water and other contaminants. So every once in a while you need to go in and you need to put a new layer of polyurethane on the floor. You do not need to sand the floor to put a new layer of polyurethane on there. You need to just do some preparation and put a new layer of polyurethane. Why do you need to do this? Well, because you don't want to sand the floor every time your polyurethane wears down. You'd be sanding the floor every 5 to 7 years, which then your floor would wear out in 20 years or so. You want to push that full resanding, refinishing your floor out 20, 30, 40 years. You want to keep that as far apart, each one of those as far apart as possible. Because the wood that's installed these days are tongue and groove. So they interlock with each other to keep them from moving around. And because of that, there's only a small amount of wood at the top that can be sanded. So typical tongue and groove hardwood floor can be sanded 5, 6, 7 times, maybe 8 times, all depending on how good of a job or how deep each sanding needs to go to recover whatever damages that were done. So the more damage that was done, the more deeply they need to sand down, the shorter the life of that floor. Because once they sand down to where those two pieces of wood are interlocked, that interlock is no longer effective and the floor becomes unstable, along with the fact it's not going to look good because now your straight lines may or may not be straight anymore. So once you get sanded down that far, you lose your floor. The floor will no longer be any good to you. So there is a limited number of times you can sand the floor. Now, for most people, they don't live in a house that long, so that's not really an issue for most people. So most people don't really care, but some of these older houses have been around. We've done screen and recoat on floors that are 200 years old. Now those floors are different than the floors that we have nowadays, but if someone wanted their floor that's installed today to last a long time, you want to limit the number of times you're sanding that floor to make it last for decades. And the screen and recoat, as we're going to get into here right now, benefits of the screen and recoat first is the sanding. Is one, it's cost effective. It's a lot cheaper than doing a sanding. It's a lot more timely than doing the sanding because sanding usually takes several days, where screen and recoat can typically be done in one day. The whole purpose of the screen and recoat is to preserve the wear layer, the protective layer of the floor. The whole purpose of the polyurethane is to protect the hardwood floor that's underneath it. So the purpose of the screen and recoat is to add a new layer of polyurethane to replace what is wearing down on the wood floor. The next thing on the list here in the blog article is customization options. This is a tricky one because there is the only customization on the floor during a screen and recoat is how shiny you want the floor. So we offer 4 options. We have matte, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. That's really the only customization option you have during a screen and recoat. The other reason you would be doing a sanding is if you wanted to change the color or the look of your floor, you would have to go through and sand it. So that's where you want to preserve your sanding options to those types of situations where you no longer want that color anymore. So you're going to use one of those 5 to 7 times that you can sand the floor to go and change out the color of your floor. Number 5 on this list in the blog article is preventing further damage. That's an important aspect of the screen and recoat is because the screen and recoat cannot repair a whole lot on the floor. It can only take care of places where the polyurethane has worn down. And that is important because as that polyurethane wears down to the bare wood, that is when damage to the bare wood can start happening. And once the wood starts getting damaged, then you're forced to have to do a sanding to repair that. So you want to try to do the screen and recoat as the old polyurethane is being worn down, but before the wood is damaged. So you want to try to preemptive do a screen and recoat before the wood is damaged. And then number 6 on the list here is enhance aesthetics. The floor just looks better. So once your old polyurethane starts wearing down, it loses its shine, it starts being dull, and it doesn't look as good. And then once you put a new screen and recoat, a new layer of polyurethane on there, the floor will start looking good again. It will start looking like new again, and it will look great. So the last section on here is when is the screen and recoat suitable? Well, the Wood Floor Association says every 3 to 5 years. I would say more in the 5 to 7 year range. But definitely once you start seeing your floor showing some wear, and it looks like the polyurethane starting to wear down, it's losing its shine, those are the times where you are probably going to want to do a screen and recoat. Once it starts going past that and the floor starts showing damage, definitely talk to someone that knows how to do screen and recoat. There is possibilities of being able to recoup the floor in those situations because there is a lot that can be done to help that floor get back to a good state. Not necessarily back to perfection, but significantly improve the floor without having to sand it. But once there is significant damage or significant issues with the floor, you're at the point where you have to sand it. That's going to be the only way to recover the floor. So, I do have my book that I have published on Amazon. This is a guide for hardwood floor care. It talks about the screen and recoat, the sanding, how to properly maintain your floor day to day, when the screen and recoat's needed, wax removals, all the different types of issues you can run into with your floor. The book is intended to provide you as the homeowner, the owner of Hardwood Floors, the information you need to make informed decisions about how to take care of your floors and how to find the right professionals to help you to take care of the floors. So you can find that book on Amazon. Hopefully you found this article and this video helpful, and have a great day. Thank you.